Last week, David Axelrod walked into the Vatican, Barack Obama's chief strategist, the man who built Obama's campaigns from scratch, and he sat down with Pope Leo the 14th for a private meeting. A man who is not Catholic, not Christian, and has never in his life met a pope before. And I need to walk you through what happened next because it explains everything. Today I want to cover 5 things. The Axelrod meeting and the media blitz that follow it, why everyone is losing their minds over Trump criticizing the Pope, they are missing the actual story, the Pope's silence on Christians being slaughtered around the world, a tweet from Leo himself that should make every Catholic uncomfortable, and the real reason all of this is happening 8 months before the midterms. So, David Axelrod flies to Rome. He brings an entourage. He gets a private audience with the Pope. And nobody in the mainstream press asks the obvious question, what exactly does Obama's political strategist need from the head of the Catholic Church? Because here's what happened right after that meeting. The Pope started taking public shots at the Trump administration, and not subtle ones. Direct, pointed criticism of border policy, of the Iran operation, of the entire America First agenda. And then, almost on cue, 3 American cardinals showed up on 60 Minutes doing the exact same thing. 3 cardinals on 60 Minutes, throwing jabs at a sitting president. And the press covered this like it was spontaneous. Like 3 senior members of the church just happened to book the same interview on the same show in the same week that the Pope started echoing DNC talking points. And meanwhile, the Pentagon had to come out and deny that they threatened the Pope, something the Vatican itself had to walk back. Now, I grew up in a country where I watched politicians use every institution they could get their hands on to push their agenda. The military, the courts, the media, the unions, the church. I know what coordinated political operations look like, and this one has fingerprints all over it. So, Trump fires back, and the whole world clutches its pearls. How dare he criticize the Pope? This is unprecedented. You can't talk to the Holy Father like that. Well, I am a practicing Catholic. I love my faith. I need you to understand that. And I am telling you, Trump has every right to push back. Because the outrage is backwards. People are horrified that Trump said something rude to the Pope. But nobody seems to be horrified that the Pope is running political interference for the American left. Nobody is asking why the Vatican coordinated a media hit with Obama's campaign architect. Nobody's asking why the head of the Catholic Church is spending more energy attacking a U.S. president than defending persecuted Christians. Trump talks like Trump. He always has. He always will. That part is not new. But what is new is a Pope openly aligning with one side of American politics and then hiding behind the collar when the other side pushes back. You don't get to throw the first punch and then act offended when someone swings back. And by the way, this is the same Vatican that watched governments padlock churches during COVID and said absolutely nothing. The same Vatican that let Joe Biden receive communion while his administration funded abortion and said nothing. The same Vatican that fired Bishop Strickland in Texas for defending actual church doctrine. The same Vatican that removed Bishop Fernandez in Puerto Rico for signing religious exemptions that the Catechism itself supports. But somehow, Trump is the threat to human dignity. And this is where it stops being about politics and starts being about something much darker. While Pope Leo has been busy picking fights with the Trump administration, Christians are being murdered. Not in a metaphor, not in theory, in reality, right now. In Nigeria, armed militants slaughtered over 250 Christians in a single attack in 2025. Women and children. 4 hours of killing. In Plateau State, they burned a church to the ground and murdered 27 believers. In Kaduna, they executed a pastor and kidnapped 20 members of his congregation. In the Sahel region, across Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, churches are being targeted for mass killings on a regular basis. In India, Christians face roughly 50 documented incidents of persecution every single day. In Syria, the Christian population is being displaced and killed during the post-Assad transition. In Bangladesh and Pakistan, mobs attack Christians over blasphemy accusations, and nobody says a word. And the Pope's response to all of this? Platitudes, calls for dialogue, vague statements about peace and not naming anyone and condemning nothing. So Pope Francis was bad on this. Leo has turned out to be worse. Francis was at least vague about his politics. Leo went and hired the consulting firm. He has the sharpest political messaging of any pope in modern history, and he aims every single bit of it at Western leaders, never at the people actually killing Christians. He won't name them. He won't confront them. He won't even look in their direction. And then Leo posted something on social media that made my stomach turn. A message about his visit to a mosque in Algeria, talking about communion between Christians and the people in that mosque, calling it a sign of unity under what he called Our Lady of Africa. Communion. That is a sacred word in my faith. And Leo used it to describe a photo op at a mosque. The same week, his people coordinated a political attack on the president of the most Christian nation on earth. He has time for that. He has energy for that. He will fly across continents for that kind of gesture. But he will not fly anywhere to stand with the Christians being buried in mass graves across Africa. So that tells you everything about where this man's priorities are. So, why is all of this happening now? Ask yourself one question. Why does Obama's chief strategist need a meeting with the Pope 8 months before the midterms? The answer is the same answer it always is with these people. They need to split the coalition. Trump built a coalition in 2024 that included millions of Catholic voters. Millions. And that coalition terrifies the left because it proved that religious conservatives and populists could work together and win. So the play is simple. You get the Pope to pick a fight with Trump, and suddenly millions of conservative Catholics feel like they have to choose between their faith and their vote. You use the oldest institution in the Western world as a wedge. You don't need to win those voters over to the Democrats. You just need them to stay home. And that is what David Axelrod flew to Rome for. Not for prayer or theology, but for a strategy. So my church is being worn like a costume, and the people wearing it don't believe in what is underneath. If you want to read more about my takes on politics and geopolitics, make sure to go to my brand new blog in the description of this video. And make sure to share this video with your family and friends, especially the Catholics in your life, to make sure they know what's really going on. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.